people are telling me to watch my back. And I don't care. They keep saying I keep poking the bear. I'm going to continue to poke the bear until they find my son's body.
Tonight, we'll be taking a closer look at crime in the city of Detroit. We begin with the story of 3 men who have been missing for more than a week. Detroit police say Armani Kelly, Dante Wicker, and Montoya Givens were supposed to perform at a club back on January 21st. Investigators say it is concerning that all 3 men's phones were turned off that night around the same time.
Michigan authorities on Tuesday revealed the cause of death for 3 Detroit rappers who went missing after a canceled performance at Lounge 31, located on Garriott Avenue in Detroit, Michigan, and were later found dead in Highlands Park, a city about 10 minutes from Detroit. Last month, on January 21st, Armani Kelly, whose stage name was Marley Whoop, Montoya Givens, who went by Jugg, and Dante Wicker, whose stage name was B12, were supposed to be performing at Lounge 31 in Detroit, but the show was canceled due to equipment problems, authorities would confirm. Kelly was last seen leaving Osakata, Michigan, which is about 3 hours north of Detroit, around 11 a.m. on January 21st to head to the lounge. After he disappeared, his mother, Lori Kemp, tracked the vehicle through OnStar and found it at 3 locations in the Warren area, and that's about a half an hour north of Detroit, according to news reports. During that time, Lori Kemp realized her son was missing and something was wrong after she had not heard from her son and tracked that car to those unknown locations. It is at this point she would go to Detroit, hit the ground running, looking for Kelly, and report him missing. Around this time, Givens and Wicker's families realized that they had not heard from them either and that all 3 men were together. All 3 phone records would show that they were all turned off at the same time on that day they went missing. Warren police recovered a stolen car that belonged to Kelly's mother on January 25th, and by January 28th, a 15-year-old boy would be arrested after driving the vehicle associated with one of the missing men, authorities would say.
Well, as you may recall, all 3 of those men's cell phones were turned off around the same time they went missing, the night they went missing, I should say. And in the days following, Armani Kelly's vehicle was spotted in 3 different locations here in Warren, and now we're told a juvenile suspect has been arrested in connection.
After his arrest, it would lead the police to Highland Park, and on February 2nd, it was said via social media that multiple victims were found in the building on the corner of McNichols and Log Cabin in Highland Park in a partially abandoned building. According to detectives, the building the bodies were found in were in a bad state and rat infested, which was making the efforts more difficult to get the bodies out. The bodies were in the basement of the apartment building, covered in construction material and under piles of debris, according to the officials. All 3 were shot to death, and it was determined that they had been killed upstairs and then disposed of in the basement, according to authorities. Once the bodies were removed, it was determined that they could not be recognized without autopsy, and through the fingerprints, the police would later determine that the victims were the 3 men, Kelly, Wicker, and Givens.
We are kind of getting close to determining a motive.
Lieutenant Mike Shaw with the state police says investigators are getting closer and closer to figuring out who killed these 3 men and why.
We got to kind of keep a lot of stuff tight to the vest. We're really trying to determine who's responsible for that.
Lieutenant Shaw says this case has gotten national attention since the bodies of Montoya Givens, Armani Kelly, and Dante Wicker were discovered here inside an abandoned apartment complex in Highland Park on Thursday. Lieutenant Shaw has confirmed the men were shot multiple times upstairs and that their bodies were dumped in the basement.
Members of the Homicide Task Force are continuing to make progress on the investigation of the homicide of the 3 men in Highland Park. It has been determined that the cause of death for each man was multiple gunshot wounds, according to Michigan State Police. Michigan State Police would also say the investigation has revealed that this was not a random incident. The investigation is continuing and detectives are making progress, and they do believe they have determined a possible motive, but have not yet released it to the public. So the police have not yet revealed the motive or released any names of people who might be responsible for the murder. 15-year-old suspect in the car theft is being held by Warren police without bond. Another suspect in a home by the apartment building in Highland Park, cell phone was tracked, and they found third suspect in that house when they were tracking the phone. However, they continued to track the phone for that second suspect, and it went all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee, where the original second suspect was arrested at that time.
Tonight, we've uncovered new information. 3 people are now in custody. First, a 15-year-old arrested by Warren police for having the stolen vehicle of Armani Kelly. We know investigators had another suspect. They tracked his cell phone to a home near the apartment building in Highland Park. At that home, sources tell us another suspect was taken into custody, and police continued to track that same phone all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee, where the man police were looking for was arrested.
A native of Oscoda, Armani was currently taking college classes while working to improve his rap skills. Taylor, Armani's fiance, stated the last time she spoke to him, he called to let her know that the show was canceled. Lori believes her son was killed by former inmates housed with Kelly during his incarceration. She said she is angry because he did 8 years in prison and didn't die, and now he comes out and they killed him. Police are investigating this crime was indeed a setup. Givens' mother, Katina Fogel, told the news that she feels numb now. 10 years of her son's life was taken away from her due to incarceration, and then she got him back just for 10 months, and now he's dead. Givens did his 10 years after he robbed Detroit pastor and gospel singing icon Marvin Winans in 2012. Bishop Winans, pastor of Perfecting Church, was pumping gas at a City Go gas station on Linwood and Davidson when the 20-year-old Givens and 2 others assaulted and robbed him, taking off with his car, cash, Rolex watch, and credit card. So Givens did do his 10 years and paid his due to society for that crime.
I feel numb right now. I feel very numb. And it's sad that people is judging these boys for crimes that they have already committed.
That's the voice of Katina Fogel. She's the mother of Montoya Givens, one of 3 friends, aspiring rappers who went missing on their way to a performance 2 weeks ago. The bodies of Givens, along with Armani Kelly and Dante Wicker, were found late last week in the basement of a vacant Highland Park apartment building. Fogel says she does not know why her son would be targeted. He recently got out of prison doing 10 years for the well-publicized carjacking of Pastor Marvin Winans.
So there's a lot of speculation of what these guys may have been into to end up that way. They all allegedly know each other from jail. They all did jail stints for quite a long time. And there's a video of Marley Whoop that people believe may have something to do with these murders. And that video was done a few days before they disappeared, and he's talking to other people on the video, and everybody's in ski masks, and something about the conversation just doesn't sit well.
It has to do with that video.
Lori Kemp is talking about this Facebook Live video on her son's Facebook page, where 27-year-old Armani Kelly at one point is arguing with 3 men 2 days before he went missing.
Wow, who you playing with, boy?
During the conversation, Kelly mentions he's going to meet up with the 3 men and bring Jugg, a nickname for Montoya Givens.
You gonna pick up Jugg? Yeah.
Video, the men speaking with Kelly appear to be upset about something he said online recently.
You gonna put that on your next scene? I mean, on your next
Go.
You know,
if you
on
go,
your podcast.
But Kelly still suggests he wanted to meet up with them.
You say man, I'm trying to pull up.
Of course, there is no indication from police there is any connection between that video and the men's disappearance. Police say they are aware of that video. Right now, they say they have no suspects and no arrests have been made. In Detroit.
So there's a lot more to this story and what's going on with these 3 young men. In the coming days, I'm pretty sure we'll hear more as everything unfolds, because according to the police right now, the 3 people that they have arrested or just either wanted for questioning or because of the carjacking. No one has been directly tied to the murder as of yet. So there's definitely going to be more to this story to come forward. So I want to give my thoughts and prayers to the families in this difficult time. Also, please comment your thoughts and prayers for these families in their difficult time, and hit that like button to share to make your people aware. And as always, remember, stay woke. Things change quickly.